Jujutsu Kaisen is full of all kinds of curse techniques. There are strong ones, simple ones, and unusual ones. The strongest of all of them is probably the limitless technique, the technique of Satoru Gojo. The most underrated is probably the construction technique, which is the curse technique of Mai Zenin, but also Yorozu, who can actually use it on a much better scale, but that's not in the anime, so not as many people know about it. But the most broken technique, the technique that makes any fight incredibly unfair, and the curse technique I'm referring to is, of course, Boogie Woogie. Boogie Woogie operates based on Todo clapping his hands and then switching places with himself or another person or something with cursed energy, which means he can teleport himself with something with cursed energy, he can teleport his friend with something with cursed energy, and that can include himself or the person he's fighting. Pretty much he can just switch two things places as long as they both have cursed energy. The entire meme of Jump Kaisen would not exist if it weren't for Todo. Because of Boogie Woogie, he and Yuji are like incredibly powerful, and they just jump people because the two of them with Boogie Woogie doesn't feel like a 1v2, it feels like a 10v1, because when you're constantly teleporting, your opponent is unable to figure out what's going on. Mahito and Sukuna, two of the most powerful characters in the verse, both were left completely confused by what was happening with Todo's Boogie Woogie. If you put any random group of characters against each other and Todo is on one side, that side is almost always going to win. Yes, there are exceptions, like if you have a full-powered Sukuna against just Yuji and Todo, yes, the Sukuna is going to win. But if you were to make it more interesting, like Yuji and Todo against Hikari and Yuta, Todo's going to easily take that fight, just because pretty much nobody can adapt to what Todo is capable of with Boogie Woogie, especially after he replaced his hand with the Vibra Slap. And Todo's just a grade 1 sorcerer, he's not insanely fast or strong or have like an incredibly technical and advanced technique. He's just a good fighter who is very smart and knows how to use his technique to the fullest. And Boogie Woogie is perfectly written for Todo's character, because Boogie Woogie is incredibly chaotic, but it is also incredibly concise. Todo is rambunctious, and Gege literally called him a highly skilled gorilla because he is just powerful. He doesn't have a limitless technique. He doesn't have an infinite force field around him like Gojo. He can't throw out cuts and slashes and flames like Sukuna. He's just a guy who can switch places with stuff, and he's really, really good with that. A technique like Boogie Woogie is only good in the hand of Todo. Notice how I said hand? A little bit of foreshadowing there. I mean, with an IQ of 530,000, and yes, that is a self-proclaimed number, could potentially be wrong, but we're just going to take it at face value, only he could use the technique to the proficiency that he does. And it works so well with Yuji as well, because Yuji is a boxer. He fights strictly on the melee side of combat. I mean, he just punches. So with an ability like Boogie Woogie, you are able to land significantly more punches against your opponent because they can't predict where you're going. They don't know where you will be, and you just are flying everywhere. Yuji's punches and Todo's technique create a symphony of perfectly timed attacks that will take down essentially any opponent. Boogie Woogie is obviously a very unconventional technique, and you gotta think about it in terms of Jujutsu. A lot of the techniques in JJK are stuff like Limitless, the Shrine technique, Construction, the 10 Shadows. They have lots of apparent abilities. You can kind of see their capability. But somebody like Todo doesn't have that. His ability is just teleporting based on claps. And remember, Todo is not from a family of sorcerers or people who know about Jujutsu like someone like Inumaki or Gojo is. Todo is just a random kid who got picked up by Yuki and was just trained in Jujutsu. So the fact that he comes from such an unconventional background explains why his technique is so unconventional. Gege created a world with Jujutsu society that is heavily based upon family and notoriety and where you come from. That's why a character like Maki is so well written, because she's so counter to that. And Todo is like that, not to the extent of Maki. I won't say that Todo's writing is as good as hers, because I think she's the best written character in the series, but Todo's is somewhat reminiscent of that. Because Todo came from nothing. He had no parents that could teach him the ways of Jujutsu. He just happened to learn it on his own and then became incredibly proficient with it. So him having Boogie Woogie and Boogie Woogie being exactly how it is perfect for his character, which is why Todo is my favorite character and Boogie Woogie is one of my favorite techniques. Okay, that's not the only reason why. Todo's also just really funny and is just really entertaining to watch. So That's the main reason, but Boogie Woogie is a great cherry on top. It's just that everything about Todo is so unorthodox and just almost loud. Like, he is obviously a very loud, literally, character, but his personality is very loud, his actions are very loud. He makes himself and his personality known. He has no regrets and no shame, and that chaotic and just empowering nature is exactly what Boogie Woogie stands for. And I love it for that. I love Jujutsu Kaisen for these unique abilities that align with their characters. So yeah, Todo's the GOAT, and so is Boogie Woogie, and do not ever underestimate Todo. If he had a domain, he would be special grade, undoubtedly. It's just that he just could not keep up with someone like, even like Dagon or Jogo. Just because of their domain, he would be completely outclassed. But if he had a domain, he would be special grade. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with that fact. But I think it's a strong agree. But what do you think about Todo and Boogie Woogie? Do you think it's incredibly overpowered, or do you think it's just mediocre at best, and that all of the skill that it seemingly brought to the fights was only good because of Yuji or the other people that Todo was fighting with? Be sure to let me know down below in the comments, and hit the subscribe and the like button if you enjoyed the video. It helps me out a bunch, and I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you for watching all the way till the end of the video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.